The Young and the Restless scoop for Monday. March 17 reveals Laurent will attempt to gaslight Trai Abbott. Also coming up, Sharon Newman will invite Nick Newman to go to Europe with her. Plus, Philly Summers will reunite with a very relieved Summer Newman and Daniel Romalotti. And Chance Chancellor will find an intriguing clue. Why and R spoilers tease Phyllis will walk down the stairs from her suite to be embraced by her children. They'll sit down for breakfast, and she'll tell him the whole sordid tale of when she was in captivity. Why and our daily scoop, if it wasn't for Sharon, she wouldn't be there. Summer will say whoever it wasn't hasn't been caught yet. That means you're still in danger. Phyllis will tell her kids she was poisoned and was in so much pain. However, Sharon ended up finding the antidote and saving her. That's the irony. If it weren't for Sharon, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. Meanwhile, Billy will tell Sally Spectra about what happened when he and Nick freed Phyllis and Sharon from Havenhurst. They'll start kissing, and then Phyllis will show up. She'll say she wants to get to work right away, but Billy will wonder if that's a good idea. At Crimson Lights, Nick will ask Sharon if she wants to go home, but she'll say it's comforting to be around other people. She'll tell him she almost died, but she's alive right now because Phyllis performed CPR on her. Sharon will add the person who took them knew a lot about them. Whoever it is has experience in the field of psychology. They knew what games to play to push all the right buttons. Then Chance will arrive. He'll tell them he found a remote control device attached to the gas line at Havenhurst, and they trace the purchase to a hardware store near the clinic. They want to analyze the footage to see if it's someone she or Phyllis recognize. Sharon will thank Chance for being so thorough. He'll say she's been through a lot. Maybe she should get out of town for a while. Nick will suggest she take their daughter and go to Europe to visit their son. I'll do it on one condition, Sharon will reply. You go with us. In their suite, Alan will ask Trai what she's doing when he spots her holding his phone. Trai will tell Alan his phone kept making an alert sound, so she grabbed it. That's when I saw this strange alert. She'll say it's none of her business, she's just trying to help. Young and the Restless scoop. Trai asks what kind of hack this is. Alan will take the phone from her hand, glaring at her, and Trai will look concerned. I'm so sorry, I hope I haven't upset you, she'll say. But Alan will say he doesn't know what the alerts are. He's been receiving them for days. He'll lie and say he thinks his phone has been hacked. So when Trai opened it, he overreacted. Alan will ask for Trai's forgiveness, and she'll say of course. She'll suggest he get a new phone. Alan will tell her he never opened his phone. He just wanted to be careful. Wait, you did. You texted me when you went out to get the engagement ring, Trai will reply. To let me know you were on your way back to the club. You had to open your phone for that, right? He'll say he was so excited to tell her that he forgot about the risk. Alan will ponder what it would be like, psychologically, if he had his identity stolen by the hacker. Trai will say he went through that. After all, his brother Martin pretended to be him. Alan won't want to talk about it. He'll suggest they discuss their wedding. Trai will say they could get married at her family home or in Paris. They have so many lovely memories there. Finally, another alert will pop up on Alan's phone. Remote device unexpectedly detached. Gas expulsion stopped. Trai will see it and ask what kind of possible hack this could be. Why do you keep asking questions about this phone? He'll ask her. Then Alan will say the phone doesn't matter. He'll change the subject to getting married in Paris. Do you think we should jump on a jet and maybe check out some venues? But Trai will look at him suspiciously. Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Tuesday, March 18, reveal that Kyle Abbott will face a harsh reality after Victor Newman stirs up trouble. Lily Winters will also be suspicious, so here's what Y and R fans can expect. For starters, Lily will have some concerns about Damien Kane's motives. Damien is pursuing Lily awfully hard, but Lily may worry there's more to his interest than meets the eye. Of course, Damien has been keeping plenty of secrets about Aristotle Dumas, who's the real owner of the companies Damien is running. Lily will keep her guard up and continue to struggle with questions about Damien's true agenda. Over with Holden Novak, he'll take a risk as he interacts with Audra Charles. Although Audra will try to keep the lines of communication open to score more Damien news, Holden has issues when it comes to respecting boundaries. If Holden tries to step out of platonic territory, Audra may remind him that friendship is all that's on the table. It's possible Holden will flirt and even try to steal a kiss, but Audra will reiterate that she's committed to Nate Hastings. Next, Victor will stir up some trouble for Kyle and Claire Newman. Thanks to Victor's upcoming move, Kyle will face the harsh reality of the situation he's facing. Although Victor and Claire reached a bit of an understanding recently, that doesn't mean Victor will ever approve of her current romance. Victor basically agreed not to sabotage things, but he won't let Claire and Kyle forget where he stands either. Of course, even just intimidating Kyle and trying to get inside his head is arguably a form of sabotage, so he won't do a great job of keeping his word. Will Victor try to make Kyle see that he's not good enough for Claire? Or could this be about his forever connection to Summer Newman, and how that's always going to cause problems? Whatever the case, Victor will make some predictions about the future and presumably insist Claire will be better off once she's free from Kyle. At some point, Kyle will face some awkwardness at Crimson Lights with Claire and Summer, so he may have to deal with growing tension between the two of them. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Kyle and Claire will have more relationship hurdles to tackle, so we'll bring you updates on any escalating drama. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday, March 17 tease that Mad Dog Martin Laurent has been impostoring his good twin Alan Laurent for months. This includes wooing Trai Abbott. This guy is good, give him his flowers. Now the gate is up and some fresh drama's about to explode between Alan and Trai, and we're here for it. Except the part about Trai's heart getting broken again. Alan and Trai have a tussle. Here's what happens. Curious Trai looks at Alan's phone to see who's been flooding him with notifications. Trai doesn't suss that he's a cheater, he just proposed. Trai's discovery leads to questions after a message about a clinic security breach. Trai wants to know what this is about, but Alan also wants answers when he sees Trai with his phone. Martin's warmth turns to ice instantly, and he grills Trai, who may say she was checking to be sure he didn't miss anything important. Alan blows up at Trai. Will Alan lash out and accuse Trai of spying on him? In the end, Trai could pressure Alan to tell her about the supposed clinic security breach. We predict that Alan could claim to be working with a random clinic as a consultant, and that he's on the list to get notifications. Trai may buy this, but Sharon Newman and Phyllis Summers' rescue could 86 Martin. Phyllis and Sharon rescued. Trai inevitably hears about Phyllis and Sharon being rescued at Havener's psychiatric clinic, and she will wonder about the coincidence. But that ruse is child's play against Martin's other trick, pretending to be Alan. Poor Trai. She is going to need a lot of Epsom salt baths when the news hits. Damien grills Nate. Elsewhere, Damien Kane grills his new bro Nate Hastings. Why is Amy Louise in a Chicago hospital? Nate may tell him she's undergoing an experimental treatment plan that needs to start ASAP to fight Amy's cancer. The Young and the Restless spoilers show that Nate will do everything in his power to keep Amy alive long enough to reconnect with Damien. What could go wrong? Tell us why, and our fans, do you have the same sick feeling that we may never see Amy again? If something happens to her in the hospital, Damien would never forgive Nate, driving some dynamite story in the future. Young and Restless left us breathless with fear for Trai in the Friday cliffhanger, which is a plus. Here's a look at what happened and what's coming up. Things they are changing. Obviously, there's been a massive shift in Sharon and Philly's relationship moving forward, and having them locked up together was an interesting way to get past the animosity over Heather's death, where they would have been otherwise stuck for all eternity. It's still a bit of a stretch that Trai's man would have gone to these lengths to toy with two women he barely knew, but here's an explainer as to Alan/Martin's motivations. If you were paying attention, you may have realized that the real reason Sharon and Phyllis were kidnapped had nothing to do with a psychopath, but with driving new story moving forward, specifically in their love leaves. The preview teases Sharon fishing to find out if there might be a future with Nick, and while we wouldn't expect "chic" to happen overnight, the woman deserves some kind of happiness after all she's been through. Resistance. The scenes surrounding the chat and reunion have been painful to watch. A significant portion of the audience isn't feeling it, and the writers clearly know this, which is why they're working overtime to try and convince us that they're a couple we should adore. One Genoa City resident after another has been trotted out and forced to behave out of character to support this reunion, including Victor, Victoria, and now Chloe, of all people. If the pairing was working, none of this would be necessary, and quite frankly, it might be more interesting if there was some pushback. Viewers see through these attempts at manipulation, and rather than have the desired effect, it instead creates more resistance. But the biggest issue with Chelsea and Adam's reconciliation, it has isolated and watered down two characters who are among the most intriguing and complex, and made them into whitewashed, reformed bores. This isn't a Hallmark movie, it's soap opera. Where's the melodrama, the sexual tension, the conflict? Imperiled. How agonizing is it knowing that our beloved Trai, who is besotted and happy beyond words at long last, is about to be utterly devastated? Worse than having her heart shattered, however, is the fact that she's clearly in serious danger. As Phyllis pointed out, Alan/Martin isn't your garden variety psycho. He's a true sicko. He's incredibly diabolical and clever to boot, so there's no telling how long he'll be able to keep up his ruse or how deeply entrenched he'll become in the Abbott world before he's finally exposed. We know he's pushing Trai to wed quickly, which has to be part of some bigger plot. We also know Eileen Davidson is returning, perhaps as one of Ashley's alters, which means this could get hella messy before all is said and done. Here's hoping. In the beginning of the month, we reported that various soap stars, including the young and the restless Eric Breeden, had been forced to evacuate their homes due to the fires that raged throughout Los Angeles. Sadly, many of the actors and actresses lost their homes as a result, and the CBS soap vet had been one of them. Breeden posted a video from outside his property as he and his wife Dale were forced to say goodbye to the home they had lived in for over 4 to 5 years. And soon after, his home had been destroyed by the fire. Absolutely devastated, Breeden made a tearful return to his former home and admitted, "I didn't think it would hit me this much." The daytime community, with many suffering the same loss, rallied around the actor and this past weekend, when he shared an assortment of posts of what his home used to look like. Melissa Claire Egan sent him a heartfelt message and stated, "I'm so sorry, Eric." Egan left her comment under a pic of his beautiful backyard, which offered up a serene view of the pool and lush landscaping. Along with other shots, Breeden shared a look inside his living room that is no more. Unfortunately, Egan also lost her home to the fires and alerted, "We are safe. Thank God. All that matters." She went on to explain that they had just bought a house in the Palisades, but that the family had yet to move into. The young and the restless spoilers reveal that Billy Flynn is jumping from Salem to Genoa City. The character name and details are being kept under wraps, but he should debut later this spring. So, let's get started speculating on what Flynn's character could do when he lands in the CBS soap opera. Billy Flynn's big move. Fans just received a shocker earlier this week when it was announced that Flynn was leaving Days of Our Lives. The actor had just celebrated 10 years on the soap as Chad Mira. So, it was a shocker for sure. Then, in addition to that, fans learned that the soap star was moving from Salem to Genoa City. As a fan of both soaps, I'm sad to see Chad go, but super excited to see Billy on Y&R. Kyle Abbott's romance. Thinking about how Billy's character could shake up GC, it's clear that Summer Newman needs a fresh love interest. Summer is divorced from Kyle Abbott but can't seem to shake her feelings for him. Summer keeps crashing Kyle and Claire Grace Newman's dates. Summer also uses any excuse to spend time with Kyle, even if it's just talking about Harrison Abbott. Kyle has already tried setting boundaries with Summer. It seems he is getting quite annoyed with his ex-wife's antics. Right now, Summer is beginning to act like Phyllis Summers when she pines after a man. By the end of it all, Summer might successfully break up Kyle and Claire. But Summer might not get the man she wants either. So that will leave her single all over again. Chance Chancellor's fizzled relationship. However, Summer has already tried a romance with Chance Chancellor, which doesn't seem to be going anywhere. She is also a Newman, which drastically narrows her dating options in GC. So, a fresh face would be just the ticket for an exciting storyline. Fans are really tired of the same romances and love triangles. Romance and reconsiderations. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Flynn's character name hasn't been released yet. However, it will be interesting if he has any connections in town already. Flynn and Lanier do look like they would look good together, though. It would also be interesting to see how Flynn's character interacts with Victor Newman Phillies and others in Summer's life. Victor is not someone who is easily explained. So, let's see what happens when the new character debuts later this spring. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Alan Laurent, aka Martin Laurent, will presumably be spotted on security footage. So Chance Chancellor may race to stop his flight to Paris with Trai Abbott. The week of March 17-21 will kick off with Chancey's discovery, since he'll come across a remote-controlled apparatus attached to the gas line at Havner Psychiatric Clinic. Some digging will tell Chance the device was bought at a hardware store not too far from the facility. Thankfully, there will be security footage of all the people who went in and out of that store. So it'll be analyzed for anybody Sharon Newman and Phyllis Summers might recognize. At some point, Alan will surely be seen on that footage, so Chance is in for a shock. Chance may ultimately confirm that Alan purchased the device, so the puzzle pieces will start coming together. What Sharon and Phyllis went through was like a twisted version of therapy, so Alan's background as a therapist will make sense on some level. Chance may not realize the Martin twins swap right away, but he could at least think Alan has lost his marbles. Y&R spoilers say Chance will do his best to connect the dots as this storyline moves along. It seems likely the real Alan wound up deceased due to that balcony fall in France, so Chance might even figure that out if he thinks hard enough. Chance may ultimately determine that Martin must have taken Alan's place again. Whatever the case, Chance will eventually find out Alan is responsible for what Phyllis and Sharon endured. That should leave Chance worried about Trai's safety, especially if he finds out she's headed to Paris with Alan to check out wedding venues. Trai may share some updates with her family before preparing to jet off. Martin may sense that the walls are closing in and try to whisk Trai away from Genoa City before things blow up. Will Chance race to the airport and try to stop Alan from leaving the country with Trai? The Young and the Restless spoilers say Chance will make some troubling predictions about what's ahead, so stay tuned for all the shocking Martin news to come. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Claire Newman is getting fed up with Summer Newman making moves on her man. Summer and Kyle Abbott have been divorced for a while now. However, it seems that Summer wants Kyle back and Claire is not standing for it. Claire Newman stakes her claim. Claire and Kyle's relationship is still young. However, Claire knows that she wants to be with Kyle, and she sees Summer trying to come between them. Claire has stood by and allowed Summer to have whatever time she needed with Kyle to discuss Harrison Abbott. Claire draws that line at Summer hijacking her date and inviting her to reschedule and leave. Jack Abbott and Diane Jenkins volunteered to babysit so Kyle and Claire could have a romantic evening since they have been staying at the athletic club while the house is being remodeled. Summer and Kyle have been sharing Harrison every night. Claire has now been deprived of most of her date time, and it won't happen again. Summer Newman wants Kyle Abbott back. Things with Summer and Chance Chancellor hit a huge snag when he arrested her brother for murder. Chance was only doing his job even though he was completely off base with what happened. Daniel Romalotti was framed by Sharon Newman, and Chance refused to listen when Phyllis Summers told him as much. Summer has now decided that she made a mistake when she sided with Phyllis and ruined her relationship with Kyle. Victor Newman is encouraging Summer to do this so he can prove that Kyle isn't the right man for her. Victor promised to stop interfering, but he lied. Will Summer succeed in coming between Kyle and Claire? Summer Newman is pushing Claire Newman's buttons. Summer is obviously barking up the wrong tree, messing with Claire. Summer may want Kyle back, but she could easily push Claire too far. Claire's crazy Aunt Jordan raised her, and she could come up with some pretty evil ways to teach Summer a lesson. However, Claire doesn't want to end up in jail over her. Claire will confront Summer and tell her to back off. However, Claire doesn't know that how Kyle will react. Will Kyle end up breaking things off with Claire because of her threats? Will Summer continue to push until Kyle and Claire break up because he is too involved with Summer after all of this time and not committed to her? The drama in Genoa City never stops, and the young and the restless fans have witnessed an unexpected transformation. Sharon Newman and Phyllis Summers, once bitter enemies, may finally be on the path to friendship. After enduring a terrifying kidnapping ordeal together, these two strong women have found common ground in their fight for survival. From enemies to allies, Sharon and Phyllis have spent years at odds, battling over love, betrayal, and personal grudges. However, their recent captivity changed everything. Locked away by an unknown captor, who was later revealed as Martin Laurent posing as Alan, their usual hostility had to take a backseat to survival. Instead of fighting each other, Sharon and Phyllis had no choice but to work together. From strategizing an escape to keeping each other sane through their darkest moments, they formed a bond neither of them expected. For once, they saw each other beyond their past mistakes. The young and the restless. Sharon Case speaks on the shift. Sharon Case, the actress who plays Sharon, recently spoke to Soaps in depth about this storyline. She revealed that this kidnapping was unlike any of her character's past abductions because she wasn't alone this time. Instead, she was locked up with Phyllis, and the experience changed both of them. It was intense, Case admitted, but you get a groove that way. You really get a good focus. She explained how working closely with Michelle Stafford for weeks helped bring depth to their characters' evolving relationship. Case also teased an upcoming episode that was particularly challenging to film. With no room for multiple takes, both actresses had to get it right in one go. The emotional weight of that moment will likely cement the shift in Sharon and Phyllis' relationship. What happens next for Sharon and Phyllis? Though they have been rescued by Billy Abbott and Nick Newman, Sharon and Phyllis' troubles are far from over. They now have to process the trauma of their captivity. Both women are strong in their own ways, but the experience will leave lasting scars. Sharon and Phyllis may not suddenly become best friends, but their interactions will change. Instead of outright hostility, they might share a complicated bond, one filled with respect, understanding, and perhaps occasional tension. It gives Sharon and Phyllis some reason in the future to play hot and cold with each other, Case explained. They have that bond now, but they still have reasons to feel either way about each other. With Martin still on the loose, the danger may not be over. However, The Young and the Restless has set the stage for a new chapter in Sharon and Philly's story. Whether they remain allies or fall back into old habits, their relationship will never be the same. Stay tuned for more The Young and the Restless updates, and don't forget to check Soap Opera Daily for the latest news on your favorite characters. It looks like someone has moved on. There's heavy speculation suggesting that The Young and the Restless star Courtney Hope might have a new man in her life. And not only that, but he's super hot too. Keep reading below for everything you need to know. The Young and the Restless star Courtney Hope has a new mystery boyfriend. Courtney, who is best known for her role as Sally Spectra on the hit CBS soap, shared a montage of photos on her Instagram account recently, and in one of them, there was a man who many of her fans are suggesting might be her new boyfriend. As many Y and R fans can recall, the last time that Courtney was in a relationship, she was with her co-star Mark Grossman back in 2023. Sadly, their time together only lasted a few months. Earlier in the year, Courtney did admit that things have been rather weird for her lately, but her feelings are something that we can all relate to. The Young and the Restless news. What's next for Courtney Hope? The actress put it this way: "This year was weird, jolting, and absolutely beautiful. My words moving into 2024 were growth, expansion, and peace. And while those are seemingly positive words, I didn't factor in that they would come with a lot of grief, stretching, and redirecting to achieve these things." She continued, "I spent a huge majority of this year feeling like I was watching myself and my immediate world as a fly on the wall, with no attachment to all I thought I knew and was. My brain and memory literally stopped working for a couple months, and I was removed from my body. It was strange and scary, and I would be lying if I said I wasn't concerned and scrambling in moments." Now, as far as what will happen to her character Sally Spectra on the canvas remains to be seen. It goes without saying that The Young and the Restless fans will have to tune in each and every day to find out what will happen next. The Young and the Restless airs weekdays on the CBS network. Check your local listings for times. Also, let us know what you think by leaving us a line right here. And don't forget to come back for all the latest news and spoilers on your favorite soaps, including The Bold and the Beautiful, The Young and the Restless, General Hospital, and Days of Our Lives. Nick's heart pounded as he raced down the dark, deserted streets of Genoa, his mind fixed on the chilling clues that had led him here. The white pickup truck, a seemingly innocuous vehicle that moments ago had been used to abduct Phyllis and Sharon, had become the catalyst for a series of events too sinister to ignore. In a matter of minutes, everything had spiraled out of control. Phyllis and Sharon, both vulnerable and terrified, had been mercilessly locked inside the truck's cargo area, their fates hanging by a thread as the vehicle sped away into the night. Determined to rescue the captives, Nick meticulously followed every lead. His instincts told him that the truck's trail ended at a place that sent shivers down his spine, a long-abandoned hospital on the outskirts of the city. This decrepit building, its walls steeped in grim memories and shrouded in whispered legends of countless lost souls, was notorious. Over the years, rumors had spread that anyone daring to step inside its dark corridors would be swallowed by a curse of misfortune and death. It was a location that few ever dared approach, a place where the echoes of past tragedies still resonated with every creak of the floorboards. As Nick arrived at the hospital's rusted gates, he could sense that something was terribly off. Shadows danced in the flickering light of his flashlight as he made his cautious way through the overgrown grounds. The silence was deafening, a silence so complete that every distant sound, every rustle of wind through broken glass, seemed to signal the approach of danger. And then, in a moment that made his blood run cold, Nick encountered a figure in the gloom. It was Martin. Martin's presence here was as unexpected as it was infuriating. Standing tall amid the encroaching darkness, he exuded a dangerous confidence, his eyes cold and calculating as they locked with Nick's in a silent challenge. "Why are you here?" Nick demanded, his voice taut with anger and suspicion. The question was loaded, for Nick was acutely aware that Martin's involvement meant that someone had compromised a critical location. Every second counted, and time was running out for the innocent Leaves still trapped inside the pickup truck. But Martin's response was nothing short of maddening. Adopting the guise of Alan, a persona he had used with reckless abandon, Martin offered a laughable excuse. "I'm just here to have some fun," he sneered, his tone dripping with false cheerfulness. The lie was transparent, and Nick felt a surge of revulsion. It wasn't merely that Martin was in the wrong place at the wrong time, it was that he had deceived everyone with his duplicity. In that instant, the stakes escalated beyond repair. The abandoned hospital was no longer just a creepy relic of the past. It was a battlefield where secrets, lies, and desperate Leaves collided. Before Nick could press further, a blood-curdling cry for help echoed from deep within the hospital's basement. The anguish sound was unmistakable, a desperate plea from someone trapped in the shadows of the forsaken building. Without a second thought, Nick's instincts surged to the forefront. He needed to act, to check the source of the scream, and rescue whoever was in peril. Every second of hesitation could spell disaster for an innocent soul, and his determination grew with each echoing cry. However, as Nick prepared to descend into the basement, Martin's voice rang out with an unsettling finality. "No, you're not going down there," he declared, his tone leaving no room for debate. "This is my house now." The words cut through the tension like a knife. Martin's possessive claim over the abandoned hospital was both baffling and ominous. It wasn't merely a building, it was a fortress for someone whose intentions were as murky as the darkness enveloping them. If Nick was forced to yield to this twisted claim, it would only open the door to further chaos and bloodshed. A volatile standoff erupted between the two men. Nick's eyes narrowed as he met Martin's defiant gaze. He knew that yielding even a fraction of ground to an enemy like Martin would be tantamount to surrender. "I'm not backing down," Nick growled, his voice a low promise of retribution. "If I let you stand in my way, if I allow you to hold innocent Leaves hostage, then I lose. And I will never be the one who gives in to cowardice or deception." Martin's smile twisted into something sinister, a predatory smirk that hinted at the depths of his malevolence. His earlier charade of playing around was now replaced by a cold, calculating menace. "You really don't understand, do you?" he hissed, the name Alan echoing in his tone as he clung to the false identity. "I'm not here to lose anything. I'm here to control what's mine, and that means keeping every secret under lock and key." His words carried an unspoken threat. The abandoned hospital, the pickup truck, and even the anguished cry for help were all pieces in a dangerous puzzle, a puzzle that Martin was determined to solve on his own terms. As the confrontation escalated, the tension in the musty air thickened. Every shadow, every creak of the old building seemed to conspire with Martin, as if the hospital itself were a silent accomplice in his schemes. Nick's determination only hardened. He knew that if he allowed himself to be bullied by Martin's deceit, he would be abandoning not only his own principles but also the lives of those relying on him. The stakes were too high. The consequences were too dire. In a swift, instinctive decision, Nick moved to secure the perimeter, his eyes scanning every darkened corner for any sign of further danger. But even as he steeled himself for what lay ahead, the echo of the desperate cry continued to reverberate from the basement, a constant reminder of the Leaves imperiled by Martin's machinations. In that moment, Nick's resolve crystallized. There was no alternative but to act, to force his way into the dark underbelly of the hospital and confront whatever horror lay hidden within. Yet Martin's words continued to haunt him. "If you yield even an inch to the enemy," Martin warned, "then you have already lost." It was a stark ultimatum, a challenge that Nick could not afford to ignore. He knew that his strength lay in his unwillingness to compromise, in his readiness to stand up to the twisted ambitions of those like Martin. And so, with a defiant glare and a steely resolve, Nick refused to be cowed. He would not allow his enemy's rhetoric, no matter how venomous, to force him into submission. There was no room for hesitation or self-doubt. Not when every passing moment brought the possibility of further violence and more lives at stake. As the confrontation teetered on the brink of violence, Nick's mind raced with strategies. Every plan, every thought was dedicated to ensuring that the cries for help would not go unanswered. The abandoned hospital might have been a place of death and despair in the past, but tonight, Nick was determined to transform it into a stage for redemption. In his eyes, every secret Martin clutched so tightly was a liability that threatened the very fabric of justice in Genoa. The standoff between Nick and Martin was not simply a clash of wills, it was a battle for the soul of the night itself. With the specter of the white pickup truck looming in the background, and the echoing cries from the basement urging him onward, Nick understood that yielding to fear or submission would be tantamount to defeat. "I'm not afraid of you," he declared, his voice resonating with the power of conviction. "I will always fight for the truth, for those who cannot fight for themselves. If you stand in my way, then be prepared to face the consequences." The Young and the Restless spoilers document that Adam Newman is in a good spot. He is back with one of the loves of his life, Chelsea Lawson, believing that he is her true blue. Adam's head and heart were most recently taken with Sally Spectra. Sharon Newman is also his arguable most passionate connection. But Chelsea is the mother of the first two children Adam had. Riley Newman died before birth, and Connor Newman. Adam's third child, Christian Newman, is rarely seen, and his mother is the late Sage Newman. Children's ties bind forever in Genoa City. Chelsea's first child is Johnny Abbott. She had him with Billy Abbott under strange circumstances. Victor Newman paid Chelsea to trap Billy. She did that in Burma during a period in the plot when Victor was working relentlessly to split Billy from Victoria Newman. But Victor's plan didn't work as Victoria came to embrace Billy's son and adopted him. While Chelsea has become more involved with Johnny recently because he and Connor are cousins, Adam goes along with Nick Newman's wishes and isn't involved with Christian. Victor Newman set the tone. Giving Chelsea his blessing was meaningful. She appreciated their talk earlier this year and felt they were in a good place, like Adam. Longtime fans know that hasn't always been the case. However, Victor told Chelsea that he recognizes she's grown and is a good mother. He no longer believes she threatens Adam's stability and wants her to be part of his son's life again. In this instance, Victor's meddling is proving productive. His offer of the old ranch house to Adam set the tone for the Chatham revival. Whether it plays through to an actual remarriage will soon be seen. Adam Newman is as stable as ever. The OCD diagnosis Connor received proved sobering. Adam and Chelsea were beside themselves when taking their son to see specialists in Baltimore, Maryland, last year. But it really wasn't the uncertainty that caused a soapy sea change. It was the resonant love they share for each other. That trip proved momentous because it was the point in the plot where Sally and Billy were pushed off. Adam and Chelsea never intended harm, but their unanticipated romantic reunion was overwhelming. They tried to explain themselves when returning to GC, but Sally and Billy, in that order, broke ties and coupled with each other shortly thereafter. So, remarriage plans are realistic with no links to anyone else and living together as a family in the ranch house. But it's still a long way from here to what would be a third-time wedding, yet that outcome is now a realistic goal. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal a preview clip has been released for the week of March 17, 2025. It shows Amy Lewis has been hospitalized. Trai Abbott is confronted by Martin Laurent at Alan Laurent. Summer Newman fears her mother is still in danger. Plus, Sharon Newman grills Nick Newman about his heart. Keep reading and let's talk about what is coming up in the CBS soap. Amy Lewis hospitalized. In the preview clip for the week of March 17, it is revealed that Damian Kane stops by Nate Hastings' apartment. Damian comes in and immediately questions his half-brother about Amy. It seems Damian heard that Amy is currently in a Chicago hospital. While this is devastating news, perhaps Damian will go to Chicago and really reconnect with his mother. Nick Newman's heart. Over with Nick, he is going to get questioned by Sharon. It seems that the kidnapping experience will have changed both women in different ways. For Sharon, she will be upfront and direct with her ex-husband. Sharon asks Nick if he ever thinks about them getting back together. So what will Nick say about his heart? Even if it's a no, at least Sharon will know for sure instead of always wondering. Summer Newman's fear. The young and the restless spoilers for next week reveal that the preview clip also shows Summer catching up with Phyllis. As the two talk about the kidnapping experience, Summer is surprised the captor wanted the women to be found. Then, Summer reminds her mother that the villain is still out there, which means she is still in danger. With nobody having any idea it's Martin, Phyllis and Sharon could start getting really paranoid of the wrong people. Trai Abbott busted. Over at the Abbott manse, Martin/Alan returns to suggest they go out on the town. However, when Martin/Alan sees Trai looking at his phone, his face gets dark. The villain demands to know what Trai is doing. Of course, Trai is caught off guard by the sudden change in her fiancé's demeanor. Will Martin/Alan quickly cover, or could Trai be his next victim? Clearly, Martin/Alan wanted to wait until they were married to complete his nefarious plan. With Trai seeing that security alert, could she be in grave danger? What happens if Trai goes missing next? What exactly is his end game? Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Keep watching the soap on CBS or Paramount Plus to find out what happens next.